It all began during the summer heat wave. My kids begged for some relief, so I set up a small inflatable pool in our backyard. It wasn't fancy just enough for them to splash around and cool off. The laughter carried through the neighborhood, and for a brief time, everything felt perfect. But then came the letter. The HOA claimed my inflatable pool violated community rules, calling it an unsightly temporary structure. They demanded I remove it within 7 days or face fines. Frustration bubbled up, but instead of giving in, I started thinking of a better, bigger plan. I dug out the HOA's rulebook, determined to understand exactly what I was dealing with. Their complaint targeted temporary inflatable water structures, but made no mention of permanent, above-ground pools. In fact, one section clearly stated that pools meeting size and safety regulations were allowed with no restrictions. It felt like an oversight on their part, a loophole big enough to drive a truck through. My annoyance turned to excitement as I realized I wasn't trapped at all. If they didn't want my inflatable pool, I'd give them something far grander and perfectly legal. Plans began immediately. I researched above-ground pools, poring over dimensions, permits, and HOA-approved construction guidelines. Within days, I placed an order for a massive model far larger than the inflatable one they had banned. Deliveries arrived steadily. Pool walls, pumps, ladders, filters, and decking materials. Curious neighbors asked questions, their faces lighting up as I explained. Karen, the HOA's self-proclaimed enforcer, looked horrified each time she passed by. I worked late into the evenings, assembling the structure piece by piece. By the time the frame took shape, my backyard was turning into the biggest water attraction on the block. The HOA soon noticed. Karen arrived, clipboard in hand, trying to catch me in violation. She muttered about community standards and aesthetic disruption, but I showed her the rulebook she had once used against me. The pool's dimensions, safety fencing, and drainage systems all met regulations perfectly. She couldn't find a single flaw. Her glare could have burned a hole through concrete, but her hands were tied. I continued construction undeterred, the sparkling blue liner soon filling with thousands of gallons of water. By then, anticipation was spreading across the neighborhood like wildfire. When the pool was finally complete, it dwarfed my old inflatable. It was massive, with sturdy decking, lounge chairs, and string lights draped overhead. Word spread quickly, and soon, neighbors began stopping by, asking when the first swim would be. I decided to make a statement. If the HOA thought they could dictate fun, I would invite the entire block to a pool party. Flyers went up on mailboxes, and excitement buzzed through the community. Karen, of course, fumed as she watched kids and parents prepare for the gathering. The date was set, and nothing could stop it now. The day of the party arrived, and so did half the neighborhood. Children splashed happily. Parents lounged on deck chairs, and music played softly in the background. My once quiet backyard had transformed into the summer hotspot. People brought snacks, coolers, and even inflatable floats, making the scene even more festive. Karen lurked nearby, muttering about violations and threatening to call the board. But no one listened. Instead, laughter echoed through the air as everyone enjoyed the very thing the HOA had tried to prevent. The bigger pool wasn't just a victory for MIT, it was a win for everyone. Gren made one last desperate attempt. She marched to the HOA board demanding my pool be torn down. But the rules were clear, and multiple families now vouched for the joy it had brought to the community. The board, cornered by their own guidelines, admitted they had no grounds to interfere. Garen's crusade collapsed in front of her peers. Instead of shutting me down, the HOA had unwillingly created the highlight of the summer. From that point forward, their authority felt weaker, their rules less intimidating. Neighbors rallied around me, seeing the value of standing up together. As the weeks rolled on, the pool became more than just water, and decking it became the heart of the neighborhood. Cookouts, birthdays, and evening swims turned into regular gatherings. Even families who once avoided HOA drama joined in, realizing that community meant more than nitpicking rules. My inflatable pool had been banned, but in its place stood a bigger, better version that nobody could touch. Karen's glare from across the street became a reminder that pettiness often backfires. The HOA had tried to ban my pool, but in the end they had helped me build the biggest one of all.